section 4.6 is on what's called Arithmetic Sequences. Excuse me. So a lot of the problems are going to be pretty simple. What are the next three numbers? So add 5 every time. 25, 30, 35. So an arithmetic sequence is adding or subtracting. Okay. You could have and it'll be the same thing each time. So it's not going to be like a pattern where it's +1 +4 +7, you know, like where there's a pattern to it, but it's not consistent. Okay. So this one goes down 3 each time. So down 3 again would be -7, -10, -13. Okay. So you'll have some where it just literally says what are the next. Let me make sure I read the directions right. Oh, this is a good term, like here. But yeah, it just says write the next 3 terms in the arithmetic sequence. So this like pattern here is what's called a common difference. So some of the problems will actually just be what's the common difference. So the answer would be 5 or 3 or -3. And then some will be what's the next 3 numbers. If it says like the first term is 12 and the common difference is 6, then 12 plus 6 is 18, and then another 6, however many, you know, they want you to do 3. So 18, 24, 30. Okay. So the big thing is that an arithmetic sequence it makes a line. So there's a couple like graphs that says determine whether the graph represents an arithmetic sequence. If you need to connect the dots, it needs to be a straight line. Okay, so wherever the points are on the graph, it doesn't matter if it's like positive slope or negative slope or anything like that. But it just needs to, you know, wherever the points like are on the graph, if you can connect the dots in a straight line, then you say yes. Otherwise, it's a no. Most of the assignment's pretty easy, and then there's one thing that's toward the end that's a little bit harder. And so we're going to write an equation like we've been doing. So you have a formula that you're going to have to remember. Okay, so these are the way that you would say this is like a sub n equals a sub 1 plus n minus 1 and d. So those sub is what we say here. So this, the a sub 1 is just the first number in the sequence. And then the d is the common difference. So if we had a problem and it said find the 50th number in the sequence. So if it just said like find like the 6th or 7th number, you could say, okay, well this is going down by 3 excuse me, and you can just go down by 3 a few more times, not a big deal. But I don't want to go down 350 times in order to get to the 50th number. So that's why writing an equation, and then we're just going to plug in 50 for the n. So it becomes a lot easier. So the first number is 14 plus n minus 1, and the common difference is negative 3. So we want to simplify this before we plug anything in. So really the simplifying is going to be to distribute that difference and when it's this plus sign here you can kind of ignore it, but negative 3 times n is negative 3n, and negative 3 and negative 1 is positive 3. And then we can combine those two. And you could write 17 minus 3n, you could do negative 3n plus 17. That part doesn't matter. I tend to always write the variable first, but that's just a personal preference. I think the book usually does the same. So alright, so here's like kind of like a formula. So for this particular sequence, it's not like for every sequence, but for this one. So if it said find the 50th number, or find the 38th number, or find like whatever, we're just going to plug in 50. So we multiply negative 3 times 50 is negative 150, and negative 150 plus 17 is negative 133. So the 50th number in the sequence is negative 133. Okay, so you know this isn't like super hard to do. So big if, you got to have that formula memorized. So to just plug in the numbers and work it out is not really, shouldn't be a big deal. But remembering that formula, that's going to be like the big thing to study. Okay? So most of the assignment is just doing what's the common difference, what are the next 3 numbers, is this a sequence, you know, by looking at the graph, can I connect the dots in a straight line? And then there are 3 problems at the end where you need to write an equation. Okay, so hopefully not too bad. Just memorize that formula, that's the key. Alright, have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you tomorrow.